Stranger Things has a ton of deaths, but some are way more gruesome and horrifying than others. We're about to break down the worst of the worst, so be sure to subscribe and let's get into it. Number 10. Grigori at the Key. The hunter becomes the hunted in this crazy scene. You can still feel that moment in the Starcourt bunker. The heat pressing down, alarms screaming, the whole place smelling like burning metal. Grigori spent the season as this unstoppable force that was as feared as he was effective, tracking down Joyce and Hopper with zero mercy. He strangled, he shot, and he never blinked in the face of insane violence. But then it all comes down to that narrow catwalk fight. The two titans trading blows on steel that vibrates beneath their feet under the impact of their weight, sparks flying off the collider, the air thick with dust, and that electric ozone smell. Hopper takes a real pounding, his ribs crashing against the railing over and over, each breath getting stolen from him. Then something shifts. Hopper drags Grigori straight into that rolling mechanism, and it's over in an instant. Metal grinds through him. Bones snap. The siren keeps wailing, but underneath it goes silent. What makes this death hit so hard is the irony of it all. The same power that almost destroyed Hawkins ends up being what kills the guy running the whole show. He spent the entire season controlling this massive force, and in the end, that force collects a soul from him in a way he never saw coming. You feel the impact and weight of that kind of justice, feel the heat coming off it, and things only get worse from here, because the next one starts quiet and ends somewhere that doesn't show mercy. Number 9. Barbara Holland. A normal night flips into something horrible in seconds. Barb's sitting by the water. There's a small cut on her hand. The backyard lights bouncing off the surface like little coins scattered across it. One drop falls. A ripple forms, way too clean to be noticeable at first, but then the water becomes warped and wrong. The Demogorgon pulls her into air that tastes off, walls covered in this gross film. Sound so quiet it makes your ears ring from the absence of it. There's no running, no warning, no one coming to help. What we find later is a body attached to something, eyes completely empty, proof that Hawkins' safety was never real. The Upside Down doesn't care about innocence or pure hearts. What gets you about Barb's death is how frail and fleeting it shows normal life to be. One tiny mistake, one moment of not paying attention, and she's gone forever, killed so brutally. The show teaches you that safety can vanish in the space between two breaths. Number 8. Dr. Brenner. A guy who lived for control bleeds out under nothing but open sky. Helicopter blades cutting through the air, gravel getting kicked everywhere, radio static crackling with orders. Brenner's trying to carry 11 out like he can still write the ending to his own story, but he can't. Gunfire cracks, dust puffs up everywhere. His body drops hard, breathing getting worse, dust mixing with his blood in the dirt. He didn't get a big dramatic speech, just a body giving out while the person he hurt most watches him die without giving him the word he's begging for. If you wanted to see the lab's cruelty come back around on itself, this is what that sounds like. The program ends with the man who called himself Papa, who never actually owned what he created. There's one hard truth, and it's that harm dressed up in gentle, caring language is still deadly, no matter how the twisted corpos frame it. Number 7. Jason Carver. Anger runs straight into something that doesn't give a damn with Jason's death. The whole Creel house is shaking. A crack opens up in the floor with this hissing sound, hot air pushing up through the wood from underneath. Jason began his day standing there loud and convinced of himself, acting like he's on top of it all. And suddenly he's on the edge of an interdimensional split. The hum gets wider, the boards give way, and his body gets torn in half as he screams in agony. No chance for him to learn anything. No grand moment of remorse or a comeback. Just reality cutting through everything he believed, and was as Hawkins starts to fall apart. Your stomach as his is cut in half. The thing killing him doesn't care about him. The house doesn't pay any mind. The show just erases him like he was never important enough to matter. Number 6. Prisoners in Kamchatka. A gate swings open in front of them. The deal they get is simple. Survive and eat. Spears are handed out to everyone. Then the Demogorgon comes out and suddenly there are no more rules. Teeth flash, then bodies bend at angles they shouldn't. Screaming bounces off concrete walls. Boots sliding in blood. Men pushing toward torches because fire is the only language that creature understands. Yet it still doesn't work. Up in the stands, the faces don't move. No sympathy. No one stepping in. Death becomes entertainment, an ultimate bloodbath. The kind where you want to tell the camera to look away, but it won't. You see every excruciating moment of their torment. You can feel your own breath catch watching Hopper and Enzo move through it, counting every heartbeat between attacks, trying to find 1 second of flame that buys them another second alive. Most of these guys never had any shot at all, and that's the real cruelty. Not guilt or failure, but a system that feeds people to a monster and calls it order. A system that watches for fun. Number 5. Alexei Freedom tastes like cherry Slurpee and neon lights, and then it ends with one heartbreaking gunshot. Popcorn flies through air, lights flashing across booths with bad paint, looking too innocent to bear witness to this murder. Alexei's laughing with Murray, and for a second, it actually looks like it could work out. Like he could have something normal in the middle of all this noise. One shot cuts through the music. He stumbles. Behind him, the booth keeps flashing win, win, win like it doesn't know what just happened. He slides down, blood spreading across bright concrete that was supposed to be for spilled soda and gum wrappers. You want time to stop? For this heartbreak to end. It doesn't. A scientist who decided to help is dying in a crowd that's too busy to notice in time. It lands hard because it feels pointless. He gave up everything he knew, traded his whole identity for one real name, and it didn't matter. Joy turned out to be fragile. Number 4. Bob Newby. A guy with a good heart runs into the maze of hell and doesn't panic. Alarms going off everywhere, doors locking down, power stuttering. Bob just breathes, works the keyboard, moves. Codes go in, cameras turn, vents open. The path clears, saving everybody else. Then a shadow moves across the screen. A dramatic chase ends in relief as Bob narrowly escapes death. Then a demodog hits from the side, taking us completely by surprise, tearing through cloth, and then skin, and then deeper. The sounds are intimate and wet and wrong. Joyce screams as he goes down in the exact place he just saved, feet away from the people he pulled back from certain doom. Joyce carries that tragic and traumatic weight for the rest of the show. Bob proves that you can do everything right and still lose, simply because of a single sound. Number 3. Billy Hargrove. A life built on anger gets one moment where it means something different. The creature wants 11, but Billy steps in front, becoming the protector, redeeming any sin. Tentacles punch through him, over and over. Each impact sounds like a hammer hitting metal. Blood leaks all over the floor, light smearing through it. He stays breathing just long enough to look Max in the eyes and try to say sorry with more than just words. Every second in that moment hurts, like knives constantly piercing a heart. There's a person under all that violence, and for the first time in the show, that person shows up before it's too late. It's brutal because redemption costs everything. He pays it. Max breaks in a way that never fully heals. But here's the thing. A choice made at the very end can still matter, even if it arrives when time's almost up. Number 2. Eddie Munson. A rumor becomes a hunt, and a kid with a guitar ends up calling down a storm. The plan sounds simple enough. Make noise, get the bats away, buy time for the others. Eddie plays one hell of a tune and the wings answer. The swarm moves like one solid mass of hellish power. Screeches descend from above him, thousands of wings beating and circling him, making his entire surroundings almost black. Claws and teeth coming at him all at once. He gets overwhelmed in a mess of bodies and teeth and screaming. Eddie's last words are small and exact. He didn't run. The scene won't let you soften what happens after. Posters go up calling him a murderer. His uncle stands under a bridge holding just a guitar pick because that's all he has left. The town never admits the truth. The courage stays real anyway. The reputation doesn't. But despite that, he went out with a bang. Number 1. Chrissy and other Vecna victims. This is fear turned into a weapon. A clock chimes somewhere it shouldn't. Voices crawl out of old wounds that never fully closed up. Chrissy's eyes freeze, looking at something nobody else can see. Then she lifts. The room goes silent. Her bones snap. Arms twist. Legs break. Eyes bleed. The sound when she hits the ground makes your chest tight. She's first, but far from alone. Fred on the road, Patrick at the lake, others all pulled into the same countdown. The show lets you hear the breath stop and watch bodies float before they drop and break in the most cruel fashion. Music can break the trance, but only buys a little time. Max figures that out. She gets free once, then walks back in on purpose as bait. Arms and legs go. Heart stops. For a moment, there's nothing. Then a breath comes back thanks to 11. She wakes up different, deformed, her body destroyed, everything going forward held together by threads. The cruelty is clean, planned, and precise. First your mind breaks, then your bones. Then the people who survive keep hearing that clock long after the room empties out. Vecna's victims had some of the most painful and brutal deaths in the show. Grigori dies to his own machine. Barb vanishes from a backyard pool, and it becomes proof that nowhere's safe. Brenner's last breath puts the bill on the lab that wrote all the rules. Jason splits apart when the ground doesn't care about casualties. The pit in Russia turns death into a show. Alexei's smile gets cut off in one heartbreaking moment. Bob's run shows that quiet bravery can still kill you. Billy shows that a different choice can still come at the end of a traumatic, anger-fueled adolescence. Eddie's fight is a form of heroism that nobody could have seen coming. Vecna's kills stitch trauma and torture together and set everything that follows in motion. Everyone who's left by the deaths we've mentioned gets shaped by it differently. Hopper pushes harder because he saw the pit. Dustin jokes less and plans more. Nancy's touch gets colder. Steve steps first because someone new has to. 11 hears all of it because every person on this list connects back to what the lab started and what needs to end. There's no blanket you can hide under. The story doesn't only hurt the cruel or protect the kind. It hits cheerleaders and editors and athletes and scientists. Fairs and hospitals and living rooms and roads and lakes all become places where it happens. That randomness feeds the dread. No safe time, no safe room. Just choices and what they cost. There's no permanent escape. So these have been the worst deaths in Stranger Things so far. Do you think we'll get even more sickening death scenes in Season 5? Which character do you think had it worst? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see more Stranger Things content and theories, click the video on screen now.